What's going on, guys? This is the BulletSafe Level 4 body armor plate. I want to thank BulletSafe for sending these out. Appreciate you. There will be a link in the description box below if you like what you see and you want to pick some up. We also just released some new merch, so link down below for that as well if you want to go check it out. I thought the Size Matters t-shirt would be perfect for today's video. You'll see why. So like I said, these are level 4 rifle plates, which means they are rated for 30-06 black tip. And we have a couple of them. So we're gonna light the first one up with regular calibers that you actually see in the wild. And then we're gonna hit the second one with something a little spicier. And before we start shooting this thing, I will go ahead and show you guys the information on the back. You can see it is NIJ level 4 certified and the warranty's good for 7 years. I would say the plate is probably about 1 inch thick, maybe a little less. And every time I shoot level 4 body armor, I am blown away by what it can do. Stopping any rifle, but especially a 30-06 or a 308, is not an easy thing to accomplish. Now, since these are rifle plates, I'm not gonna spend too much time on handguns, but I will go ahead and start with the 9mm, since it's probably the most common handgun caliber in the world, and we're shooting it out of the Canik TP9 SFX. What if it just went right through? I love this gun. Well, it looks like that spalling cover definitely did its job, and oftentimes hard body armor will show more damage on the front because it doesn't absorb the bullet like soft armor does. But it looks like that 9mm did not even damage the first layer. If we flip it over, of course, there is nothing on the back. Next up, I want to try the 5.7x28 green tip, and we're shooting it out of the Ruger 57. This is a smaller bullet than the 9mm, but it's going about twice as fast and is way harder to stop. This round will consistently defeat soft body armor, so let's see what it does. Looks like I hit the corner. The 5.7 green tip hit on that top left corner, and once again, it did not even damage that ceramic or whatever is in the front of this plate. If we flip it around, of course, there is no deformation on the back. Time to step it up, boys. 223 out of the AR-15. Going from the 5.7 to the 5.56 is possibly the biggest jump in the history of YouTube, but I didn't bring any in-betweeners, so we're getting right to it. This one's going about 3,000 feet per second, so quite the step up. It always makes me a little nervous to shoot rifles at close range like that, but yeah, I do it anyway. 223 hit right there, and that is the first one to actually do some damage. You can see it's pretty shattered in there. If we flip it around, we do have a tiny bulge. Really not too bad for a 223, and I just have an old beat up cinder block sitting behind it, so this is worst case scenario. Next up, we have the 7.62x39 out of the AK-47. Bigger bullet than the AR-15, but not going quite as fast. .762x39 hit down here, and that actually looks like it did a lot more damage than the 223 did, which I didn't really expect. It also moved the cinder block quite a bit on impact. If we flip it around, oh yeah, that is a much bigger bulge than we got from the 223. Hopefully you guys can see that. So typically velocity is the key to defeating body armor, but clearly the 7.62x39 carries more energy and hits quite a bit harder. Okay, now we're going back to the AR-15, but this time we are shooting the green tip. This is a steel core bullet and is much better at defeating body armor. I'm gonna try not to put this in the same hole as another round. Pretty close. We put the green tip M855 right above the 7.62, actually a little closer than I wanted to, but it does look like it still stopped that bullet. If we take a look at the back, it did, and actually it doesn't look like that bulge really grew too much. Well, usually you want your bulge to grow, but in this case, I would say a small bulge is actually a good thing. Shout out to all the small bulge kings out there. And keep in mind, we are shooting this repetitively with powerful rifles, so it's kind of like the ultimate way to test body armor. Hopefully in real life you would not take a 223, a 7.62, and then a green tip 5.56 on the same plate. Hopefully. All right, well, I do not have a 30-06 at the moment, but what I do have is a 308. Very similar ballistically, and this is kind of the military's modern day 30 cal. So let's see what it does. Rifle is the Savage Axis 308, and I'm gonna try to put this one below the 9mm, but not too low. I cannot believe it took us all the way to the 308 to finally knock that plate down. With every other caliber, it just stayed standing. We're already looking at the back, and it did stop the 308, but man, that is a lot of back face deformation. Let's take a look at the front. So hopefully you guys can see in there, it just carved out like a baseball size hole in that body armor plate, and that kind of shows you how powerful the 308 is. Well, I wouldn't want to get shot with that because it would absolutely suck, but this plate would stop a 308 and probably save your life. Good to know. Well, now that we know this body armor will stop everything it's rated for, we have another plate here, completely untouched, same thing as the first one, and I want to try something that I would not recommend getting shot with in real life, with or without body armor. This is the 500 Nitro Express. Yes, this is an elephant gun. We call it the Bigfoot rifle. It is absolutely absurd, and I would say it's my most powerful rifle in terms of energy on target and recoil. The 50 BMG definitely beats it for penetration, but these elephant guns are in a league of their own. Unlikely that you would ever need body armor to stop one of these, but I want to try it anyway and see what happens. And for this one, I did put a sandbag behind the body armor plate just to give it a fighting chance. I still don't think it's gonna stop it though. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna take my microphone off for this one because it's about to get bumpy. The recoil of this thing is something I still have not gotten used to, but let's give it a shot. That is an adrenaline rush. It literally gets your heart rate going like a roller coaster or something. God. Okay, I flipped this thing over without looking at it, so I do not know if it went through or not. I was aiming right here, kind of towards the top middle, because I knew I would flinch, and sure enough I did, but luckily we still hit the plate. Hopefully you guys can see how deep that cavity is. It's twice as thick as the plate was, so if it didn't go through, it definitely bulged it out quite a bit. And right here on the table, I can see pieces of that 500 Nitro Express. That might be a good sign. Let's flip it over, and it stopped it. That is incredible. It is the first one to actually split the back though. I don't think the 308 or any of the other calibers we shot did that. So it pushed it to the limit, but this plate stopped the 500 Nitro Express. And look at the sandbag that was behind it. That would not feel good either way. Well, I don't know if you would survive that because the hydrostatic shock of that bullet impact would be a lot for the body to handle, and these plates are not rated for elephant guns like this. But as you saw, to my surprise, it did stop the 500 Nitro Express. Wow. All right, we have a third body armor plate here. I swear this is the last one, and there's only one gun left to try.
The 50 BMG.
By the way, I think there is 0% chance one of these plates will stop a 50 cal. So what we're gonna do for this one is line up all three of them. We have the new one in the front, and then the 500 nitro plate behind it, and the first plate behind that. And I've put blocks of clay in between them. Clay does not stop bullets at all, but it will give it kind of a cushion to at least give it the best chance possible. And I wanna see if 3 level 4 plates can stop a 50 cal. And I'm sure you've all seen a 50 cal before. If you haven't, this is the monstrosity we're dealing with. It is a regular mil-spec FMJ. There's no way 3 of these plates would stop an API. So we're just gonna try a regular ball round, and I still think it'll blow right through them. 50 cal versus 3 level 4 plates. Will it be enough? Put your guesses in the comments. Something went flying about 30 feet that way. Probably clay. Plate number 1, I can see a hole going straight through it. I actually see some of that bullet though in the first plate. There's some of the jacket right there. And you can see that exit hole on the back of that plate. The 50 BMG is freaking awesome. Here's the clay block that was in between plates number 1 and 2, and actually on the front of plate number 2, I see quite a bit of that bullet. It looks like it only took 2 of these plates to stop it. So it did stop right there. It damaged the clay a little bit. I mean, the amount of force you're dealing with is just preposterous, and you can see the bulge on the back of plate number 2. But 2 of these plates stopped a 50 cal, and I believe this is our entire bullet. That thing is still very hot. That might be one of only 2 or 3 50 cals I've ever recovered. But of course, there's no exit hole on the back of plate number 2, so there's no entrance hole on the second clay block or the third body armor plate. So obviously finding a rifle plate that can consistently stop 50 BMG is very challenging, and as far as I know in the civilian market, there's nothing I would recommend for that. But if you think you're gonna be getting shot at with a 50 BMG, pack 2 of these bad boys in and it will stop it. Fairly easily, I might add. This second plate did not even get tested, and it stopped that 50 cal very easily. I did not expect that. All right, guys, that's the BulletSafe Level 4 plate. Again, thank you to BulletSafe for sending these out. I really appreciate it. There will be a link in the description box below if you want to go pick some up. I would definitely recommend them. It stopped everything except the 50 BMG, including the 500 Nitro Express. And now we know if you want to stop a 50, just put 2 of them in your plate carrier and it will do it very easily. Don't think you would survive that anyway, but now we know. Merch will also be linked in the description box below. Please go check that out. I got some questions about sizing yesterday. I would say it's pretty standard. I am 5'10", ridiculously shredded, and I wear a medium. So that should give you an idea. If you like the video, guys, please hit the like button for me. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.